PYQs are very important for prelims examination. For ancient India, I'm covering around 30 years questions. Okay, so all the questions I'm covering, you will be learning a lot in this lecture. And I'll tell you specifically what to be remembered for the maximum result in the prelims examination. Hi everyone, welcome back to PW. I'm 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐿𝐴𝐿. As we have discussed in our previous lectures, that we are continuing with our previous year question series. Now, PYQs are very important for prelims examination. In the previous video, we had discussed about modern. Today, I'll be taking ancient India. Now, for ancient India, I'm covering around 30 years questions. Okay, so all the questions I'm covering, you will be learning a lot in this lecture. Plus, one important thing is this: try to understand ancient India in a chronological manner. Okay, starting all the way from Stone Age till the post-Gupta period. Because many questions, and I'll tell you specifically what to be remembered for the maximum result in the prelims examination. So we will begin from the Stone Age. We'll start from now the questions which are map oriented. Okay, and map is one of the important area. Side by side, I will tell you which things you need to revise a lot. Okay, like we can make a list, like one area where you need to put a little bit of effort in ancient India is map. That's a learning from the previous year questions, because UPSC is asking lots of questions from there. Let me just give you some examples. Okay, so in prehistory or Stone Age, we have few questions. Like, see this first one. Consider the following information, right? And these are the questions which are the new questions also, because 3 columns are there. Previously, there used to be 2 columns at the max, but now we have 3 columns. So let us try to understand them. First, these are the archaeological sites. Okay, 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐎𝐿𝐴𝐿, 𝐼𝐼𝐼𝐼, 𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐿, and 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐼𝐼. So these are the 4 archaeological sites which are given by UPSC. Then they've asked the corresponding state to which they belong to. So in this case, please try to see 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐿, it does not belong to Odisha, it belongs to West Bengal. This site was asked 2-3 years before also. So 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐿 remains a very important site for prelims. Anyway, this does not belong to that. Second, 𝐼𝐼𝐼, it belongs to Maharashtra, absolutely correct. 𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐿 belongs to Kerala, correct. 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐼𝐼 belongs to Andhra Pradesh, that is correct. So far we have 3 options, but now we have to also match their descriptions, the third part. If we see 𝐼𝐼𝐼, yes, it's a Chalcolithic site, right? So, and second, 𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐿, it is a megalithic site. And last one, 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐼𝐼, it is not a rock cut cave shrine. Okay, it has some of the stupas, but it does not have rock cut cave shrine. So if we see the answer on the basis of this, we're going to be left with 2 and 3. The answer will become B. Such are the kind of questions which are going to be a little bit difficult for all the students. So in these kinds of questions, what matters is, please remember the major sites of Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic, and Megalithic. If you do this exercise, there are very high chances you'll be able to take a lead over other students. So please memorize sites. Okay, the states they belong to, as we can see from this question. And number 3, even more importantly, their description. What are the major finds that we have from that place? So if you do these 2-3 things, naturally you're going to get some extra marks, and this is what we can get on the basis of these PYQs. The first area which is going to be very important for all of you is map. Please do not ignore it. If you will ignore it, this is going to be very problematic in the exam hall. You must have realized by now that in history, UPSC is asking 12 to 14 questions. Out of these 12 to 14 questions, around 4 to 5 questions they are coming from ancient. Okay, 3 to 4 questions are coming from medieval. Hardly 2-3 questions are coming from modern part, and the remaining 2-3, whatever is left, is coming from culture. The number of questions which are coming from ancient medieval, they are dominating the paper from last few years. So if you going to go with the trend, then please focus on this. If UPSC completely follow this trend this time around, then naturally it's going to be very easy for you to get the good marks. So please at least revise the maps which are given in the NCERT. This is the first question, right? This is the latest question in 2024. Let us see a very similar kind of a question, okay, where irrespective of the state, they've just asked the information about the important sites. So please see Burzahom. Now Burzahom, it's an important place that we have in Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, it's very close to Kashmir, the region of Srinagar. Is it known for rock cut shrine? No, rock cut shrines are not found at Burzahom. Second, they've asked about again the same site, right? So 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐻𝐿 was first asked in 2021, then they've asked about the same site in 2024. 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐻𝐿, is it a terracotta art center? Yes, absolutely. It's famous for terracotta art. Okay. Third, Ganeshwar. Now Ganeshwar is an important site. Why Ganeshwar is an important site? Because this is the area where we have Khetri mines. And the people of Ganeshwar, they used to send copper to the Harappan civilization. So there used to be a lot of import and export relationship. So is it known for copper artifacts? Yes, it is also correct. So the question is asking which of the following are correctly matched. So in this case, answer is going to become D, 2 and 3. So please, first thing which we have learned on the basis of PYQ is that mapping is important. Okay, and at least the important sites, if you are able to understand them, then naturally you can get a answer, right? This is the most prominent thing. Like 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐻𝐿, it came in 2021, it also came in 2024. If you would have read about 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐻𝐿 in 2021, a part of the previous year question, as I told you in my lectures also, that if you do PYQs for history, it's going to pay you dividend. If somebody would have learned about 𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐻𝐿, which is the state, they could have easily eliminated in 2024 the first statement, right? And the moment you eliminate the first statement in this question of 2024, A and D options are out of the picture. We're left with either B or C, which gives us an idea that third is absolutely correct. So even if you do not know about Mangadu, it does not matter. But if you know at least about Inamgaon, that will make you easy for you. Inamgaon, Maharashtra and Chalkolithik site. And that's a doable site. That's an easy site. That's not a difficult site. Alright, so please remember that sometimes elimination do work, but how it will work, in how many questions it will work, that will depend upon UPSC. That will not depend upon us. So please try to remember the first learning from PYQ is please do mapping. Okay. Then let us see something more. So in this they've asked specifically about religion and the important places. Like first one is Besnagar. Besnagar, they have said it is well known for Cheviot Cave Shrine. The Cheviot Cave Shrine is not there. Here we have the shrine dedicated to, or the pillar of Heliodorus, right? So since there is a pillar of Heliodorus, that is linked to whom? It is linked to Vasudev, and Vasudev, it's a part of Vaishnavism rather than Shaivism. So even if you remember the places, please remember the important deity that they are known for. Within Hinduism, you should be able to at least differentiate between Shaivism and Vaishnavism, the basic one. And if you can remember the third part also, Shaktism, it is even better. But whenever you remember, please try to do this. Okay, the first one. Second, Bhaja. When we discuss about Bhaja, is it a Buddhist cave shrine? 100% correct, right? So Bhaja is a very important Buddhist cave shrine. Sitanvasal in Tamil Nadu. So Sitanvasal, what is it famous for? It is famous for Jain cave shrine. That is also correct. The second and the third statement are correct. The first one is not. And in this, since the elimination is not going to work because they've asked only one, only two, all three or none, the answer in this case is going to become B. But these are the questions which are doable, right? All of you know Buddhism and Jainism is very, very important for prelims examination. All of you are aware about it. But there are so many dimensions of Buddhism and Jainism. It's not easy to do them. Like the first thing is map. Second, the focus should be on Buddhism and Jainism and various aspects of them, like architecture, okay, basic tenets, sects, important text, literature also of Buddhism and Jainism. That's the second most important part. Whenever you want to score the maximum marks in ancient India, you have to go for this also. If you will not do this, what is going to happen? If you will not do this, then there is going to be a very big challenge in the paper. And all of us, we want to get the maximum marks. That's why we are doing this PYQ series also. If we do this PYQ series also, then naturally there's going to be some percentage of things. If they get repeated, then you will get the advantage. But let me just chalk out these things. In your revision, please take care of these things. Okay. Now, This is the question from 1998. As I've told you, in this part of ancient, in fact, the same strategy I will go for in medieval and art and culture part also. Here I have taken questions from long time ago. Okay, so more than 25 years PYQ we are solving, so it is more comprehensive in comparison to modern. In modern there were too many questions, so it was not possible to do it in one lecture, but in ancient we can do so. So please see, they are saying that what is the correct chronological order in which the following appeared in India. So please see iron plow. Okay, so we see the utilization of iron in India broadly around 1100 to 1000 BC, right? This is broader time period where we see the beginning of the use of iron. All right, then urban culture. So Indus Valley civilization, the urban phase around 2600 BC. So probably this is the earliest one. Punch marked coins, and that too made of silver, around 600 BC. Okay, and gold coins. Gold coins broadly we link it to 200 BC because the first gold coins in India, they were issued by Indo-Greeks. So the rival of Indo-Greeks, then the Shakas, and then the Kushanas. So if we have to put, right, this is the chronology. So in this case, as you can see, the latest one that is very close to us, that is the gold coin. So fourth would be first, then the third one, then the first, and then last would be the second, right? If we go by this, because UPSC has not given in ascending order, descending order, so question has some fault with respect to that. But the only choice which is matching clearly here is C. All right. So please remember these things. This kind of questions can come back. In history, I have seen same questions getting repeated. Okay, so you can expect the same, that there could be a basic level of repetition in this subject. So answer in this case is going to become C. Let us see some questions from Indus Valley civilization. Indus Valley civilization remains a very important topic for prelims. Please remember that. And more and so, when the Dholavira got the major kind of a status, a World Heritage Site, UPSC again asked this: which one of the following ancient town well known for its elaborate system of water harvesting and management by building a series of dams? So here the answer is only one, Dholavira. Answer would be A. Kalibangan is not famous for that, neither Takigadi nor Ropar. So answer will become A in this case. Very easy. Next, which one of the following is not a Harappan site? So can you see again map is dominating? Okay, not only in the Stone Age, also in the Harappa. Please have that few things remember about the profile of Harappan sites. If you can remember some things about profile of the Harappan site, then you are going to get good marks. Okay, and we want to clear this examination. If you want to clear this examination, you have to follow an approach. So which of the following is not a Harappan site? Chanudaru, it is a Harappan site. 𝐶𝐂𝐷𝐄𝐃 is also. Desalpur also, right? So please remember, Chanudaru and 𝐶𝐂𝐷𝐄𝐃, both of them, they are in Pakistan. Desalpur, this is in Gujarat. Sohagoda, now Sohagoda, this is in Uttar Pradesh, and Sohagoda, it's a site which is linked to Maurya. We have an inscription, okay, which talks about famine relief measures, so what to be done in case a famine comes in. So that information is given in Sohagoda. This does not belong to the Harappan part, right? So answer in this case is going to become C. Next, which of the following characteristics are that of the people of Indus Valley civilization? You should have some awareness about Indus Valley civilization. What was the character? What kind of polity was there? What kind of economy was there? What kind of society was there? What kind of religion they practice? If you have some basic ideas about them, plus the comparison with Vedic people, because these are some of the things which UPSC have tested in the past, and you can learn from them. Like, see, number one, they possessed great palaces and temples. So one thing is very important to remember: temple becomes prominent only from the Gupta period. So Indus Valley civilization, we do not find even a single temple which can be classified as a temple. The first statement becomes incorrect. Second, they worshipped both male and female deities. So broadly, yes, we say. Why? The chief goddess was mother goddess, but we have many male deities. In fact, we have a proto Shiva seal also, so that gives an idea about that. The second statement is correct. Third, they employed horse-drawn chariots in warfare. No, we do not find any evidence of fighting we do not find any evidence of chariots with respect to the Harappan civilization. In fact, this was a feature of Vedic period. Many times what UPSC does, they mix the information of the Vedic period with the statements of Indus Valley civilization. So if you can remember that, then you can broadly get very good marks, and at least nobody will be able to fool you in the exam. So here the answer is very clear, the answer will become B, right? It's very easy. Please solve these questions along with me. Even if you have solved them, try to understand the pattern which UPSC has followed over these years and how this pattern can again help you out in getting the maximum marks for yourself. Okay, the third thing which we can learn, that Indus Valley civilization, there will be few questions here and there, and please compare them with the Vedic culture and remember the prominent sites, okay, of map. Important sites of Indus Valley civilization, they are important. Please remember them at least. Few of them will be solving in the class itself along with this, so that will give you some information. Please see this. With respect to Indus Valley civilization, it was predominantly a secular civilization, yes, and the religious element, though present, did not dominate the scene. The first statement is absolutely accurate with respect to the religion of Harappan civilization. Second, during this period, cotton was used for manufacturing textiles. That is absolutely correct. In fact, Mehergarh was one of the earliest sites from where we see the cultivation of cotton, and Mehergarh was the site which will eventually become part of Harappan civilization. So the second statement is correct. In this case, the answer is going to become both 1 and 2, that is C. Next, if we see, we have to now identify the important site and their chief characteristics. Like all of you know about Lothal. Lothal is linked with dockyard. Yes, that is very clear. Then Kalibangan. What is Kalibangan famous for? That's what one thing you need to remember. Kalibangan is famous for not only bangles, it is also famous for a plowed field. Very few plowed fields we have seen. One is Kalibangan and second is at Shortugai. It is in Afghanistan region. The second is can be linked with first. Dholavira. Dholavira has an inscription, right? In fact, one of the largest inscription that we have, it is at Dholavira. It has around 26 signs, and that is also known as Dholavira signboard. The largest inscription of Harappan civilization, it is found at which place? Dholavira. Last is Banavali. Now Banavali is famous for, okay, Banavali is famous for terracotta replica of Aplo. So on the basis of this, you can easily identify the answer. A will be linked to 2, B will be linked to 4, C 4, and D 3. I think answer will become B. Okay, so please remember these sites. Okay, they are easy, they are not that difficult. Now we have many animals represented on the seals of Harappan civilization. These seals were made of steatite largely. Some of them were made of metal, also gold as well as silver. So which are the prominent animals that we see on the seals and which is not found? So in this question they have asked which is not found. So all of you know we do not find cow. So in this case answer will become A. We do find elephant, rhinoceros as well as tiger on their seals. So answer will become A. Next, they're asking us again the site and its chief characteristics. Now that's why I told you that from the PYQ one thing is very clear. You have to remember few important sites and you have to also compare Indus Valley civilization with the Vedic culture. This has been a prominent theme if you can identify along with me. Now please see, Lothal, is it known for an ancient dockyard? Correct, 100%, right? Second, Sarnath, the first sermon of Buddha. This is also correct. All of you know about Dhammachakra Privartana. Rajgir, lion capital of Ashoka. Now lion capital of Ashoka, it's found at Sarnath again. The third statement becomes incorrect. And Nalanda is a great seat of Buddhist learning. That is also correct. So in this case the answer will become C. In this question they have asked the comparison from multiple places of ancient India, not just the period of Indus Valley. Now with respect to Vedic period, you have to have some understanding of literature. If you are missing the information of the literature, then it's going to become problematic for you. Okay, so from the topic of the fourth one, sorry, you see the topic of Vedic culture, because every information that we have about Vedic culture, it is largely on the basis of literature. And what's the literature that we have is Vedas. Okay, so we have two categories of Vedas. The one which is known as early Vedic and the later known as later Vedic. Early Vedic has Rig Veda. Rig Veda's time period, it is from 1500 BC to 1000 BC. That's the time period of Rig Veda. If we see later Vedic, it is from 1000 BC to 600 BC. And in this time period, we have all the remaining three Veda. The first one is Sam Veda, okay, which talks about music. Then we have Yajur Veda, and the third one is Atharva Veda. So read a little bit about them because many questions have been asked from here. Which Veda is prominent for this? Okay, so early Veda and later Veda. Plus every Veda has four parts. The first one, which has the mantra, that is known as Samhita. Then the second one has the rituals, and that is known as Brahmana. Third one is known as Aryankas. Aryankas are also known as forest book, and they help us in understanding these rituals given in the Brahmana in a very symbolic manner. But the crux of the Vedic period is in the Upanishad, and the philosophy which is developed on the basis of Upanishad, that is known as Vedanta. The word itself means Veda Anta. Anta means the last part, and out of the four parts, the last part is Upanishad. So please remember a little bit about Vedic culture, what are the time periods. Okay, so these are some of the important things. Let us now see this question. There are no parables in Upanishad. Okay, parables means stories. So lots of methods were utilized by the gurus in order to make their student understand the things that they used to discuss in the Upanishad. In Upanishad, they used to discuss about the existential questions with respect to humankind. The process of birth, the process of death, transmigration of soul, what is hell, what is heaven. So such kind of questions are being discussed in the Upanishad, and they could not be taught to the people just like a syllabus. You have to use multiple kinds of stories, inferences, dialogues. These are the kind of things which were there. Sometimes when you're not able to understand the meaning of a word, you can even see the Hindi translation which is given along on the next page. That is one trick I'm telling you, so that it can give you a kind of a booster in the examination. The first statement is incorrect because there are lots of such stories which we have, right? Second, Upanishads were composed earlier than the Puranas. This is also correct, right? In fact, you should know the broader characterization of Indian literature. The early Indian literature is linked to two traditions, the tradition which is known as Shruti and the tradition which is known as Smriti. Shruti means something which has been heard, something which is told to us by the god, and it has been heard by the sages in their deep meditative states. And the status of Shruti has been given to only the four Vedas, okay, which includes all the four that we have just discussed: Rig, Sam, Yajur and Atharva. Smriti, it has everything else. Whatever has been written, this is considered as the work of human beings, that human beings have written that, and that includes Puranas, that includes epics, that includes Dharma Shastras, that includes Vedangas. So it is very clear, the first tradition that we have is Shruti, and Upanishad is a part of this. Upanishad is a part of every Ved. So that's how we are able to understand that they were composed before the Puranas. So please try to remember the basic things, and if you are able to remember these basic things, you will get good marks. Answer will become B. Second statement is correct, the first one is incorrect. Let us see the next question. Now this is a comparison of the Rig Vedic and the Indus Valley civilizations. Let us see the comparison. First, the Rig Vedic Aryans used the coat of mail and helmet in warfare, whereas the people of the Indus Valley civilization did not leave any evidence of using them. The first statement is correct. Okay, the first statement is correct. Second statement, Rig Vedic Aryans knew gold, silver and copper, whereas Indus Valley people knew only copper and iron. Iron, as we have just discussed, it was used in India from 1100 BC to 1000 BC roughly. In fact, in North India around 1000 BC, in South India around 1100 BC. Second statement becomes incorrect on this basis because this is an extrapolation. Indus Valley civilization, they were not aware of iron. Okay, so it will become incorrect. Third, Rigvedic Aryans had domesticated the horse, which is correct, whereas there is no evidence of Indus Valley people having been aware of this animal. Now, this became a very controversial statement when paper was conducted in 2017. In fact, I also gave this exam. So, there is one place known as Surkotada. Okay, all of you probably know about this Surkotada. From there, we find horse remains. So many people thought that since it means that they were aware. But if we think logically, awareness means there should have been large number of such remains of the horses, but we find only from one place. So it means in general people of Harappa were not aware about horses. So the third statement was taken correct by UPSC, right? Even though many of the coaching institutions at that point in time gave the answer one only, because there are every year there are 5 to 10 questions where there is always difficulty of coming up with a final answer, and UPSC will have the final say. UPSC finally gave the answer C 1 and 3. So for the sake of not having any kind of controversy in the future and getting the marks as per the UPSC standard, please remember the answer C 1 and 3. Next, this is a very important question. This is about understanding the basics. The term dharma and reeth depict a central idea of ancient Vedic civilization of India. In this context, the understanding of dharma and reeth. Let us try to understand it. Dharma. What is dharma? Dharma means something which is your duty, your obligation, what you should do. So let us try to understand the statement. It was a conception of obligation of discharge of one's duties to oneself and to others. 100% correct. Okay, and where were these duties defined? These duties were defined in Dharma Shastras or the Smritis like Manu Smriti, right? Second, Reeth was the fundamental moral law governing the functioning of the universe and all it contained. This statement is also correct. You must have heard this word also, Reeth. Okay, Reeth is something which is going on for a very long time, and this is in this case the fundamental moral law which governs the universe, and on the basis of Reeth, everyone decides their dharma. In this case, or dharma, the answer will become C 1 and 2. Next, the religion of early Vedic Aryans was primarily of, right? You need to understand the religion early Vedic period and later Vedic period. Early Vedic period, largely the focus was on prayers. By later Vedic period, we see the focus was now on the sacrifices a lot more, right? So out of this, can we see bhakti? A, no. Image worship and yajna. Image worship will start from Mahayana Buddhism, and from Mahayana Buddhism it will taken by the Hinduism. So during the Vedic period there was no image worship. Second statement is incorrect. Third, worship of nature and yajnas to some extent, in fact it is correct because they used to do nature worship also. Worship of nature and bhakti. Bhakti was not there. So here the answer will become C, which is very easy to remember. Okay. Next, which one of the following four Vedas contains an account of magical charms and spells? Magical charms and spells means something which is more like that some superstitions that we can call them. Like if by doing this something can be changed. In fact, these are the kinds of things which we find in Atharva Ved. The answer is C, which also gives us an idea that probably Atharva Ved, when it was composed by understanding some of the knowledge from the regional tribes of India. Because in general the Vedic Aryans were not having these spells and charms, and they may have learned this from the indigenous people of India. The answer in this case is going to become C, which also shows the interaction of these cultures. Okay, the term Aryan denotes ethnic group, nomadic group, speech group, or a superior race. The concept of superior race, it was created, okay, by the Nazis, by Hitler during the Second World War. That is not correct at all. Okay, because that race is on the basis of biology. It's not just on the basis of some propaganda. Answer in this case will become C. C is the most appropriate, even though in many books you will read about it was an ethnic group, right? Answer will become the C. That is, it was a speech group which was a part of Indo-European army, European group. The river most mentioned in the early Vedic literature. All of you know that initially they lived in the Sapta Sindhava region, right? It's in the Sindhu river and the tributaries. So in this case, the answer is going to become A. Sindhu is the most mentioned river, right? Even though the most beautiful river they talked about is Saraswati. So this is the best of the rivers in the Rig Veda. In the context of Indian society, which one of the following terms does not belong to the category of the other three? So in this, broadly, three terms are very close to each other and the one term does not fit in. So we have to identify that, right? Please see Kul, yes, related to family. Vamsh or Vansh. Vansh is again, it is linked to the family, right? Last, see D. Gotra is also one way of linking it with the family for the representing the family. But if you see the word C, Kosh. Kosh means treasury, right? Now Kosh was a fundamental part of the Saptanga Rajya theory, which is given by Arthashastra, which is given by Kautilya. So in this case, the answer will become C because Kosh is not linked to the remaining three. So here the answer will become C. Next, now all of you know that in Indian, in India, in fact, if you read Puran, so in Puran, the conception of time, how do they conceive, they understand the time? It is on the basis of Kal, right? So there are 4 Kals which are very important and we have to put them in the sequential order. So the first one, it is Krita, okay? So Krita or Satyug, that's the first Kal that we have, right? So that the answer is going to be either B or either C. And the last, which all of us are living in, it is Kali Yuga. So answer is going to become B or C. The second one, it is Treta, then Dvapar, and then final last is Kali. So you have to remember this sequence because what can happen? The word Dva, it means like 2, right? So the root is linking towards 2. So many of you can do this mistake. You can go for the B option, but the answer is going to be C. Kreta, Treta, Dvapar, and the last one is Kali Yuga. Please remember this is the conception of time which we can see in our Puranas. Puranas talks about this conception of time, and please remember 4 Yug, when they combine, it becomes a Mahayug. Answer in this case is going to become C. Next, in this case we have to identify the woman who was responsible for contributing to some of the compositions in the Vedas. Who among the following was a Brahmavadini who composed some hymns of the Vedas? So if we see here, Lopamudra, Gargi, Lilavati and Savitri. Here the answer is Lopamudra. So many women, they contributed to these Vedic hymns, okay? And in that you can remember Maitreyi, Vishwambhar, Apala as well as Lopamudra. So these were some of the famous scholars of this time. The word Hindu as reference to the people of India was first used by. So the word comes from the Persian roots, but it was used for the first time by the Arabs. So in this case, if you see, the Greeks no, Romans no, Chinese no, the answer would be Arabs. That's why the word Hindu or the Hindu means the people who are residing in the area of Hind, and this itself derives from the Sindhu river, people living beyond the Sindhu river. And since the Arabs could not pronounce the sh, they used the word h, Hindu, right? That's why it became Hindu in general. So please remember, this is the answer which you are looking for. Answer would be D. That's why Hinduism is more of a geographical term. Later on, it became a religious term. In fact, the word Hinduism was used for the first time by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. You can remember that also, the word Hinduism. Then Mahajanpadas. All of you know how many Mahajanpadas were there? There were around 16 Mahajanpadas, and these Mahajanpadas, their list is given not in the Brahmanical sources. Their list is given in the Buddhist and the Jaina sources. Okay? Please read about them. Now, with reference to cultural history of India, the memorizing of chronicles. So who among them used to remember the story? So the one who used to remember the stories, the name was Magadha. Okay, Magadha is a Mahajanpada also, and the people, in fact, the other word used for them is Sutas also. The Sutas and Magadhas, they were the people who were given this job to remember the chronicles. If they can remember the chronicles, that can help them in memorizing the history in general. So here the answer is going to become D. Okay, I hope all of you are able to understand these things. Some questions will give you some fresh information also, right? Because majority of us, we solved the previous year question of last 10 to 15 years, but here I have gone a little bit wider because the PW team also gave me this PPT, which helped me in creating this content, which is allowing all of you to learn in a very stupendous manner. So please remember that. All right, please remember that. Let us go further. Okay, between which of the following was the ancient town of Takshila located? So all of you need to remember about Takshila. Okay, where was Takshila located? So if you remember Indus and Jhelum, right? So this was the area where we see the ancient town of Takshila. So the answer will become A. Okay, these are now facts. You have to remember the facts. There's nothing that you can do about it. Who among the following was not a contemporary of the other three? So Bimbisar, Gautam Buddha and Prasenjit, these were the one who lived around the 6th century BC, right? While if we talk about Milinda, okay, King Milinda. Now King Milinda is linked to Indo-Greeks, and Indo-Greeks come to India during which time? 2nd century BC. So naturally Milinda is not going to be a contemporary of the other three. The answer is going to become C, and I think this is very easy. Next, which one of the dynasty was ruling over northern India at the time of Alexander's invasion? So Alexander's invasion happens around 326 BC, and the dynasty was Nanda. The ruler was Dhanananda. Okay, and Dhanananda was toppled by Chandragupta Maurya. So here the answer will become A, Nanda dynasty. Okay, which one of the following was initially the most powerful city-state of India in the 6th century BC? I hope all of you can answer that. The answer is going to be Magad. The answer is D. Then, now such kind of questions I have not seen in last many years, and we can expect such kind of questions. Okay, now these are the kind of questions which can come in the examination, right? We have 16 Mahajanpadas. They can put any 3 or 4, right? And then they can ask, please try to bring out the answer. So in this case, please see A, B, C and D. This is very easy to identify. This is Avanti, B, right? So please see B, Avanti. So we have only 2 choices which we have, B or C. Can you see D here? So D is the easternmost, very close to the Bangladesh. So it was Anga. So that is not there in the B. So Avanti and Anga. Only on the basis of 2 you can reach the answer. But still, A, this is the region of Matsya, and this C is the region of Vatsa. So the answer is going to become C. But you have to remember the name of the Mahajanpadas. That can be seen from this. If these are kind of question which can come, then it is going to be difficult if you will not remember the name of these Mahajanpadas. Like if they ask about here the region of Gandhar, you should have some idea about this. Here the answer is going to become C. Okay, so please remember the list of these Mahajanpadas. Buddhism. Now Buddhism and Jainism, as we have discussed at the beginning of the class, they are probably the most important topics for ancient India. Every year you can expect at least 2 to 3 questions from Buddhism and Jainism in different forms. It is difficult to identify the areas from where they will ask. There are few easy themes and few very difficult themes. The easy themes will tell you when we'll do those questions. Now this is the difficult one, where they ask about some specific person and which book they have composed. These are not easy to do so. So please see here, Sanghabhuti, an Indian Buddhist monk who traveled to China at the end of the 4th century AD, was the author of a commentary on. Okay, so he was the author of the commentary on which of the following books, right? So here the answer is one, that is Srastivad Vinaya. Okay, so the answer is going to be C, right? So you can remember, because these are the kind of questions which are difficult to remember. Okay, it is pure fact based. Sometimes even logics will not work, and when they will give options which are very close to each other and which are probably many times even unknown, difficult to know. So again, this question is still doable. With reference to ancient India, Gautam Buddha was generally known by which of the following epithets? So which were the different names which were used for Gautam Buddha? So Gautam Buddha is known by the word Tathagat, 100% correct. Sakya Muni, because he came from which clan? Sakya clan. That's why the name Sakya Muni. So the second and third are absolutely correct. So we are now caught up between B and C. Then Nyayaputa. Now Nyayaputa is a word which is, or a name which is used for Mahavir. It is not used for Buddha. So So here the answer is going to become B, 2 and 3. But these are the kind of dynamic questions which UPSC keeps on creating. These kinds of questions, like if you have some extra knowledge, then only you can do. Then otherwise it's going to be very problematic. You may hear these words like Tathakat, right? Tathakat, in fact, you may have seen that it's the name of some of the institutes also, right? So these are the kind of words, if you have kind of a inclination towards understanding the meaning of the words, then probably you will get the right answer in this. But anyway, this is the answer that you need to remember for the future. Which one of the following region was Dhanyakatika, which flourished as a prominent Buddhist center under the Mahasanghikas? So out of this, if you have to remember, first of all, the areas where Buddhism flourished, okay, it is the eastern part of India and the southern part of India, mostly the area around Andhra Pradesh, Deccan area, right? In this case, the answer is Andhra A. Logic should be remembered, right? Logics are important because logics helps you in getting the right kind of orientation before solving a question. That helps you in eliminating probably one of the statement, not all of them, but some statements can be eliminated, and that gives you a boost in the paper, because if it can solve half of your problem, half the knowledge is required, right? So that's how we get the maximum marks. Next, please see this question. The concept of stupa is Buddhist in origin. A concept of stupa that we discussed about, right, or a mound, it is from the Vedic period itself, so it does not belong to Buddhism, right? So the first statement is not correct. Stupa was generally a repository of relics. Relics means the remains of the Buddha. Initially, when the stupas were created, around, I think, 9 stupa was created on the relics of Buddha, and around 8 on his ashes and 1 remaining on the utensil in which his ashes were kept. So 9 original stupas were there. Ashok is linked to probably creating around 84,000 stupas, which always looks like more of an imaginary number than a real number, but still, as per tradition, that's the information that we have. Stupa was a votive and commemorative structure in Buddhist tradition. That is correct, right? Third statement is correct. So here, how many are correct? Only 2. B is the answer. Next, in the cultural history of India, the word paramitas. Okay, now this is an integral word, which is something which we find in the Buddhism. Many times they will ask you these easy questions also. Now, paramita is easy to remember. Why? Because you can just read all the statement and you can find the answer. The earliest Dharma Shastra text written in Sutra style. Okay, so these are known as Dharma Sutras. They are known as paramitas. Philosophical school that did not accept the authority of Vedas, they are known as Nastik. Buddhism, Jainism, and even Charvak, right? So the word Nastik is used for them. Perfection whose attainment led to the Bodhisattva path. The third statement is correct. Powerful merchant guilds of early medieval South India has nothing to do with the word paramitas. In fact, it looks a word from North India and it doesn't look a word from South India at all. That is not there. So you can reach an answer, but please try to remember the word for the future, paramita, because there could be a question which may not be based on the whole question, may not be based upon the word, but one option may be based upon paramita, or they may have written the definition of paramita or an explanation of paramita, which you can easily eliminate by having that understanding. So that's why please remember about this. Next, with reference to religious history of India, consider the following statement. Dravidavan belong to Mahayana Buddhism. No, they belong to Hinayana Buddhism. Next, the Lokottaravedin sect was an offshoot of Mahasanghika sect of Buddhism. Correct. The deification of Buddha by the Mahasanghikas fostered Mahayana Buddhism. That is also correct. In this case, answer is going to become B. Okay. Now, these are the kind of question which makes it a little bit difficult for you. If you use, most of the times we are only aware about Hinayana and Mahayana. You should have a little more understanding about the evolution of Buddhism. So this is one area which I would think is going to help you out in the exam. So please develop this understanding and solve such previous year questions. Okay. Next, if we see, again, this is an easy question. Which of the following are characteristics of Mahayana Buddhism? In Mahayana Buddhism, first of all, we see deification of Buddha. Deification of Buddha means where he was treated like a deity, like a god. Okay, initially Buddha did not say anything about God. He was asked that do you know that there is a God? He said, find it for yourself. He neither accepted the idea of God nor rejected it. He just said, find it for yourself. So later on, he himself was converted into a God. Second, treading the path of Bodhisattva. So yes, The word bodhisattva means these are the kind beings who are delaying their own enlightenment in order to help others to go towards the path of the same. The third, image worship and ritual. So yes, Mahayana Buddhism is linked to all these three. Answer will become the easy question. Next, which of the following best describe the concept of nirvana in Buddhism? All of you know what is this nirvana linked to. Okay, the one thing which is responsible for suffering is desire. And what is the pathway? Okay, to do that, the pathway is known as the Ashtfold path or the Eightfold path. And the final outcome is nirvana. Nirvana is nothing but that's the extinction of desire. So the A statement makes sense, the extinction of the flame of desire. The complete annihilation of the self, no, the second statement is not linked to Buddhism. Buddhism believes in middle path. It does not believe in this complete annihilation of self. A state of bliss and rest, no, that doesn't mean a mental state beyond all comprehension. The statement number C and D you can eliminate directly. A would be the answer in this case. Lord Buddha's image is sometimes shown with the hand gestures called Bhumi Sparsh Mudra. It symbolizes what? Bhumi Sparsh Mudra. This was the mudra which was done by Buddha just before his enlightenment. In Buddhism, the word desire is used is linked to Mara. Mara is considered as the demon who was trying to stop the final process, the final yearning of Buddha towards becoming the Buddha himself, the enlightened one. So he touched the Mother Earth just to showcase that he is very pure in his character, he is very pure in his mindset. That's what this Bhumi Sparsh Mudra is all about. So please see the B statement. His calling of the earth to witness his purity and chastity despite the temptation of Mara. So Mara is considered the desire, right? So desire was trying to somehow get the better of Buddha, but he was able to defeat them. Mara is defeated as a demon in the Buddhist mythology. So answer will become B in this case. Next, now these are the statements about few dynasties which we relatively do not put much focus on. Number 1, Ishwaku's rulers of southern India were antagonistic towards Buddhism. No, that is not correct. After the downfall of Satavahana, the dynasty which emerged in Andhra Pradesh, its name is Ishwakus. And the Pala rulers of eastern India were patrons of Buddhism. Yes, that is absolutely correct. The answer will become B, 2 only. Next, the following person came to India at one time or another. The correct chronological sequence of their visit is, so you have to remember the chronological visit of Fahiyan, Itsing, Megasthenes and even Hunsang. The first one to come is Megasthenes. That's a no-brainer, right? He was the first one to come to the Mauryan Empire. So that first statement is A or B is going to be the answer. Okay, it's going to be either A or either B. These are the two into the consideration. Next, among the Chinese, we have three travelers: Fahiyan, Hunsang and Itsing. The first one is Fahiyan. So after 3, the answer is going to be 1, right? Again, the tie is not to be broken. Next one is Hunsang. So B would become the answer. Itsing was the last one to come to India. So we see three Chinese travelers. Okay, so please remember, and even remember the name of the king in whose reign they came. Like Megasthenes, he came during the time of Chandragupta Maurya. Similarly, Fahiyan came during the time of Chandragupta, right? Then if you see the Hunsang, he is linked to Harshvardhana. Itsing came a bit later on. Right, so answer will become B. Jainism. Again, few questions are going to be very easy, like this question. Few are going to be again the factual, where you have to remember about the sect, you have to remember about the schools, etc., etc. That's the important thing which you need to remember. So please see question number 40. Souls are not only the property of animal and plant life, but also of rocks, running water and many other natural, not looked on as living by other religious sect. This statement is directly linked to Jainism. B would be the answer. With reference to the Indian history, consider the following text. Again, these are the kinds of questions which become difficult for an average student. Why? They do not remember literature at all. That's why another thing which I would like all of you to focus on is literature in general. Okay, the fifth part is please read literature. Literature is important. Not only Buddhism and Jainism, multiple parts are there, right? So please remember literature. And like here we see Native Pakarna, right? Now this is linked to Buddhism. Vasishtha Paravan is one of the most famous text of the whole of Jainism. The second is going to be an answer, right? Third, Avadana Shataka. So the word Avadana is always linked, okay, broadly to the Buddhist texts here. So the third statement is again incorrect. So if we use even this elimination technique, so this was workable in 2022. Avadana is not going to be there. So you can easily eliminate on the basis of 3, A, C and D. We are left with 2 and 4 only. These are some of the one. Even the word Mahapuran, you can find it is linked to Jainism. The word Puran will not be linked to Buddhism in general. Right, so these are some of the rules, some of the methods which you can learn if you are able to understand the literature aspect of it. Right, so please remember that answer will become B. With reference to religious sect in India, Thanakvasi sect. Now, Thanakvasi sect belongs to Jainism. The answer will become again B. With reference to religious history, consider the following. Turantika and Samitya were sects of Jainism. So they were not sects of Jainism, they were sects of Buddhism. And Sravastivadi held that the constants of phenomena were not wholly momentary but existed forever in a latent form. The second statement is correct in this case. Okay. Next, which of the following are applicable to Jain doctrine? The surest way to annihilating karma is to practice penance. Now look, the word karma is represented differentially in Buddhism, Hinduism and Jainism. In Buddhism, the word karma, okay, the word karma in Buddhism is linked to your intention. Whatever your intention is, that is more or less is going to be linked to karma. But once you go towards Hinduism, the word karma gets linked to action. That whatever kind of actions you will do, you have to take the responsibility of the final outcome. While we go towards Jainism, in Jainism the concept of karma is very different. Karma means these are the particles which gets linked to your soul and to your body, and you have to annihilate these karmic particles or the karma particles in order to become an arhat, become enlightened. The concept of karma is very different in Jainism in comparison to Buddhism and Hinduism. Please remember that. So the surest way of annihilating karma is to do penance. Yes, you can reduce the karma of your mind, of your body by doing penance. Every object has soul. Yes, karma is the bane of soul and must be ended. As I've told you, in order to get enlightened, you have to reduce all the karma. In fact, in the last, when many of the followers of Jaina, they do Salekhana or Santhara, that is nothing but that's the way of killing the karma. So here the answer is going to become D. All 1, 2 and 3 are correct in this. Next, with reference to ancient India, which are common to both Buddhism and Jainism. Avoidance of extremes of penance and enjoyment. So that is not there because in Buddhism it's the middle path, in Jainism it's the extreme path. Indifference to authority of Vedas. Yes, both of them did not believe in Vedas. Number 3, denial of the efficacy of ritual. Third statement is also correct. So answer will become B, 2 and 3. Jain philosophy holds that the world is created and maintained by what? Universal law, truth, faith or soul. Answer is A, universal law. Next, these are some of the statements which came in 2003. Like Vardhaman Mahavir's mother was the daughter of Lichavi chief Chetika. She was not a daughter, she was the sister. Gautami Buddha's mother was a princess from the Koshal dynasty, correct? And Parshavna, the 23rd Tirthankar. In total, we had 24 Tirthankar, and Mahavir was the 24th. The 23rd belonged to Banaras. So these second and third statement are correct. Answer will become C in this case. If you see the Mauryan empires, from Maurya, UPSC has asked many questions. Okay, so that's why little bit of understanding, and most importantly, from Maurya, at least focus. Okay, from Maurya, one area which is most repetitive is Ashok and his inscriptions. Okay, you will find at least 7-8 questions on these aspects itself, even though other areas are also being asked. But one area which you should not leave at any point of time is his inscriptions. Okay, that has been the basis of multiple questions. So please see this. Kautilya Darsha, the person could be a slave as a result of judicial punishment. The first statement remains a little bit of a controversy even till today. Okay, so initially when institutes came out with the answers, all three were considered correct, right? How someone can become a slave? If a female slave bore her master a son, she was legally free, correct? And that is known as the concept of manumission. And if a son born to be female slave was fathered by her master, the son was entitled to legal status of master sons. That is also correct. So the first statement, right? It is a little bit of controversy, but finally UPSC came out with the final answer, and they rejected the first one, that slavery normally it could be done if you are a prisoner of war. Second, if you have some kind of debt. But in general, nobody was made a slave just because that they were given a punishment. First statement is incorrect. The rest two are correct. Answer will become B, 2 and 3. Who among the following rulers advise his subjects through this inscription? Whoever praises their religious sect or blames other sect out of excessive devotion to his own sect with the view of glorifying his own sect, he rather injures his own sect very severely. There's only one person who has given this. All of you know about Ashoka's Dhamma. So the answer is going to be Ashok, that is A. A would be the answer. Next, in which of the following inscription Rana Ashok mentioned along with the stone portrait of Ashoka? Okay, so the Rana Ashok. So in general, he uses the word Priyadarshi or Piyadasi is the word used by Ashok, the beloved of the god, is the meaning of that. But in few of his minor rock edicts, okay, and very few places, like one of those places is Kangnahali, right? At Chanchi, Shahbazgadi, Shohogoda, we do not find his name. We find the place at Kangnahali. So answer is A. This is in Karnataka. Okay, so please remember that. Even at Musky, we do find his name. Musky also we do find the name of Ashok. So the following had first deciphered the edicts of Emperor Ashok. Okay, so the answer is only one, that is James Prinsep, B. So please remember, James Prinsep in 1837, he was able to decipher both Brahmi as well as Kharosthi script, and on the basis of that, he was able to link it with Ashok. Next, Ashoka annexed Kalinga to the Mauryan Empire, correct? And Kalinga Kalinga controlled the land and sea routes to South India. So naturally, the answer is going to become A, because B is a good explanation of the A. Which one of the following ancient Indian records is the earliest royal order to preserve food grains to be utilized during crisis in the country? The Sohogoda copper plate inscription talks about the famine relief measures. So the answer is going to become A. Okay, Sohogoda is the answer. Please remember. According to Ashoka's edict, social harmony among the people was more important than religious devotion, correct? And he spread ideas of equity instead of promotion of religion. So the answer is become A, because it's a correct explanation. So can you see lots of questions are there? The Ashoka major rock edicts which tell us about Sangam kingdom include which rock edicts? Now a very static and factual question which all of you need to remember. It is in his rock edict 2nd and 13. Answer is going to become C. Okay, so it talks about these Sangam age, Cholas, Pandyas and Satyaputra. So these are the one, and they were contemporary of the Mauryas. Can you see this? They've again given a map. So I am expecting UPSC can give you these 2-3 maps, and if they will give you these 2-3 maps, many people will find it difficult to even cope up with the change in the process of making questions. Forget about the answers. You should not be one of them, okay, because we are discussing it in the class. So the map relates to whom? Kanishka at the top of his death. So Kanishka was not having control in South India. It can be eliminated. Samudragupta after the close of his South Indian campaign. So no, he was not able to have capture over this northwest part. Okay. Ashoka towards the close of his reign. Yes, to some extent that is correct. And finally, Empire of Thanesar on the eve. So Harsha never had control over South India. He was defeated by Pulkes in second. Answer will become C, Ashok. Next, if we see, which one of the following statement regarding Ashok's stone pillars is incorrect? They're highly polished. Yes, so we do have polish on the pillars of Ashok. That is correct. Second, they're monolithic. Monolithic means a single stone has been carved out. They are not like small stones joined together. It's a single stone. So monolithic. Correct. Third, the shaft of the pillars is tapering in shape, right? Because they are broader at the base, and as they go up, they taper. Their width it keeps on decreasing. These are parts of architectural structures. No, they are not part of any other architectural structure. They are just the one standalone pillars. So the D is the incorrect one, because in general the pillars used to be there in the Persian architecture also. In Persian architecture, the pillars used to be along with some major architecture like a palace. But in the case of Ashok, he was spreading the message of Dhamma, and that's why the pillars are standalone in nature. So the answer in this case is going to become D. Next, 58. Which of the following edict mention the personal name of Ashok? Musky, Kalinga edict, Rumandai. Rumandai is the edict that we have in Nepal, so don't get confused. Okay, and finally we have Kalsi, or the Lumbini is also known as Rumandai edict. Kalsi. So as I've told you, it is only Musky where we found his name along with Kangana Hali. So 2-3 edicts are there. More of them are minor one. The name by which Ashoka is generally referred to in inscription. There's only one name, Priyadarshi or Priyadashi, which means the beloved of the god. Answer will be D. I hope you got the clarity that from the Mauryan period, please remember about Ashok. Remember his major rock inscription, remember his minor rock inscription, because the history of Ashok in general is being asked by UPSC in the examination. So I am giving you the ideas that which are the important topics which you can revise at least once or twice. From post Maurya, this question is now on the guilds. What were the guilds? Guilds, they were the associations of the merchants and of the craft persons, and there was certain important information about them which UPSC has asked. Every guild was registered with the central authority. No, everyone was not registered. They may have some linkage, but it was not mandatory. The king was the chief administrative authority. King was the chief administrative authority, but everybody was not registered. So first statement becomes incorrect. Second, the wages, rules of work, standards and prices were fixed by the guilds. Absolutely correct. The guild has judicial powers over its own members. Yes, it did have a judicial power. In fact, this is mentioned in Arthashastra that they should be allowed to have autonomy in their internal affairs. That's why the third statement is correct. So second and third. Answer will become C, 2 and 3. With reference to scientific progress, which of the following statements given below are correct? Different kinds of specialized surgical instruments were in common use by the 1st century AD. So we have two very important texts. Okay, please remember about them: Charak Samhita and Sushruta Samhita. Charak Samhita is about medicine. Sushruta Samhita, it is about surgery. The first statement is correct. Okay. Transplant of internal organs in the human body began in 3rd century AD. For transplant, we do not find any kind of such evidences. The second statement is correct. The conception of sine of an angle was known in the 5th century AD, so it was known to Aryabhat. The concept of cyclic quadrilateral was known in the 7th century. So this was also known. So the answer will become C. Okay. Please remember some information about it, like Brahmagupta is linked to cyclical quadrilateral. With reference to invaders in India, which one of the following is the correct chronological order? I think that's the easiest one. The first one to come were Indo-Greeks, then there was Sakas, and the last one was Kushanas. Okay, so the answer will become A, Greek, Sakas and Kushana. The last Mauryan ruler. Now this is a very good question which was created by UPSC in I think 2003. Very good question, and majority of us will not be knowing these facts, right? Last Mauryan ruler, Brihadrath, he was assassinated by his military commander Pushyamitra Shunga. This broadly all of us would know. Right? First statement is correct. Next, we are left with the second statement. The last Shunga king, Devabhuti, was assassinated by his Brahman minister Vasudeva Kanva, who usurped the throne. So the second statement is also correct. The last Shunga ruler, his name was Devabhuti, and he was killed by his minister Vasudeva Kanva. That's why first we have the Maurya dynasty, the second we have is the Shunga dynasty, third we have is the Kanva dynasty, and the last ruler of the Kanva dynasty was deposed by the Andhras. Who were the Andhras? The Satavahanas. Okay. Who were the Andhras? In this case, it was the Satavahanas. In fact, the founder, his name was Simuka. Simuka, sometimes the spelling is written with an S, sometimes with a C. Okay, but anyway, he was the founder and he was the one who was able to depose the last ruler of Kanva dynasty. All three statements are correct. Answer is going to become D. My humble request, please remember this information. If it comes, you will have some advantage. Which of the following pairs is correctly matched? Harappan civilization painted grey ware. No, that is not correct, right? We have black and red ware which is linked to Harappan civilization. PGW, it is linked with Vedic period. So please remember that. Second, the Kushan are linked with Gandhara. Correct. Mughal with Ajanta painting. No, nothing doing, right? And last, Maratha with the Pahadi school of painting. No. Answer will become B in this case. Next, The practice of military governance was first introduced in India by the Greeks, Shakas, Parthians, or Mughals. Answer is Greek because initially they used to call them military governors, right, known as strategos, and later on it was further developed by the Shakas, and they used to call themselves the leaders as satraps, and the bigger one as Mahasatraps. Please remember the answer. Answer will become A. Indo-Greek set up in North Afghanistan in the beginning of the 2nd century BC was known as which kingdom? The kingdom of Indo-Greece. Indo-Greece, they were having two chains, those who were north of Hindu Kush and those who were south of Hindu Kush. In this case, the answer is going to become Bactria. So Bactria Greeks are the one which we came towards India. Answer will become A. Many of the Greek Kushans and Shakas, they embraced Buddhism rather than Hinduism. Why? Because look, in Hinduism in general there was a system of caste, and it was very difficult to become part of any caste. Why? Because caste system was exclusive in nature. It was by birth. That's why Buddhism gave you an early access to Indian society. The answer is going to become D. Buddhism provided easier access to Indian society. Next, which of the following was a corporation of merchants in ancient India? Okay, Chaturvedi Mangalam, no. Parishad, no. Ashtadiggaja, okay, no. And Manigrama, yes. So Manigrama, this was one of the guild from South India. Okay, a famous guild. Okay, from South India. So please remember the two most important merchant guilds. The second statement on the board, please see that, of South India of which were Nanadasi and Manigramam. So UPSC has many times used this word. Okay, many times they have used this word, so you can remember this. Answer is going to be D. Sangam age, very important. UPSC recently has been asking questions repeatedly from Sangam age. So one area which you can probably put a lot more focus after Ashok, that is Sangam. Okay, recently from the post-modern period, UPSC has not been asking. I'm putting the areas for priority. Don't think that rest I will leave everything, whatever that is telling, let us keep that, doing that. No, these are just for the sake of revision. Okay, if you have studied more than that, it's better. So if you see with respect to South India, Korkai, Pumpur and Muchiri were well known as capital cities, ports, centers of iron and steel making, shrines of Jain Tirthankar. So these doesn't make any sense. D also doesn't make any sense. Ports, yes. So these were the important ports like Muchiri, the word Mujaris and Muchiri, the word is same. For the Cheras, Mujaris was a prominent port. If you see Korkai was a famous port of Pandyas. And if you see Pumpur was a port of the Cholas. In this case, the answer is going to become B, ports. Okay. Which of the following explain the word Vatakirutal as mentioned in the Sangam poems? Okay, so these are the kinds of words from Tamil. Either you remember, either you don't. So here the answer is going to become D. So this was a process where the king who used to get defeated in battle used to commit suicide by starving himself to death. The answer is D. So the following statement about Sangam literature in ancient India is correct. So you should have an understanding of Sangam literature and Vedic literature because there's a little bit of comparison among them. The older one is the Vedic period. The Vedic period literature, it is more religious while it is more materialistic in nature. Let us now try to understand few other features of this. Sangam poems are devoid of any reference to material culture. No, they're very materialistic oriented, right? They talk about love, they talk about war. The social classification of Varna was known. The second statement is correct. Third, Sangam poems have no reference to warrior ethics. No. In fact, there were two types of poems, Akam and Puram. Akam, they were the love poems, and Puram, they were the warrior poems. That's why both are going to be correct, right? So statement number A and C gets eliminated just by knowing this basic fact. Sangam literature refers to magical forces as irrational. No, that is incorrect. They used to consider that as relatively rational. Many people used to do that. Answer will become B. They were aware about Varna system, but the society was not divided along the Varnas. There was a classification system which is given in Tolkapiyam. Right? Tolkapiyam, that's a book of grammar on the Tamil, and that has given their social stratification. The term Yavanapya. Yavana is a word for the foreigners, right? And Priya means something which they always take from here. Yavanapya is a word which is linked to pepper. Pepper was the word which was very important to them. It was known as black gold. Answer will become D. So the following is a work attributed to playwright Bhasha. Bhasha is written the playwright known as Madhyama Vyayog. Answer will become C. These are pure literature questions and you have to remember the facts. There is no other way to survive here. So please focus on literature. One area which is very prominent to literature is Gupta period. Lots of writings has been done, right? Like see, Devi Chandragupta. Now, Devi Chandragupta is not written by Bilhana, it is by Vishakharata. First one is incorrect. Second, Hamira Mahakavya, written by Nyayachandra Suri, correct. Milind Panho by Nagarjuna, no, by Nagasena. No, they are even confusing you in names. So please remember that. Then the Niti Vakyamitra, that is written by Somdev Shuri, that is correct. Second and fourth are correct, one and third are incorrect. Third one is easy to get, but the first one is a little bit difficult because many of us do not remember. But please, please, please focus on literature. Answer is B. Next, with reference to history of India, the terms Kulyavappa and Dronavappa. The Vappa word in the region of Bengal, it is used for measurement. These are the words for the measurement. So answer is A, measurement of land. With reference to period of Gupta dynasty, the town Ghantasala, Kadra and Chaul. So these were nothing but these were again the ports handling the foreign trade. Answer will be E. Then scholars, Panini is associated with Pushyamitra Shunga. Panini, he has written Ashtadhai, the first book on Sanskrit grammar, right? And he belongs to either 5th century or 4th century. Exactly nobody knows, but 5th or 4th century. But Pushyamitra Shunga, he belongs to 2nd century BC. It is Patanjali who is linked to Pushyamitra Shunga, not Panini. So the first statement is incorrect. Amarsimha is associated with Harshvardhana. No, Amarsimha was a part of Navaratna of Chandragupta II. Third, Kalidas is associated with Chandragupta II. Correct. Answer will be C, C only. Vishti. The Vishti was a forced labor which used to be there during the Gupta period, right? And it was more or less a kind of a tax imposed by the rulers. It was considered a source of income for the state, a sort of tax paid by the people. Yes, because they were not paid for their labor. First statement is correct. Let us still understand the rest of the three. It was totally absent in Madhya Pradesh and Kathiawar region. It was very highly mentioned. It means it was very highly spread in this region. Okay. Third, the forced laborer was entitled to weekly wages. As I've told you, it's a forced laborer. They were not paid at all, right? So that was a kind of revenue for the income for the state. Third doesn't make any sense. The eldest son of the laborer was sent as a forced laborer. No, nothing like that. He is not a. Next, Allahabad pillar is associated with which of the following king? Answer is only one, that is Samudragupta. D is the answer. Next, the origin of feudal system in ancient India can be traced to military campaigns. Yes, that is correct. There was considerable expansion of feudal system during the Gupta period. Second statement is also correct, but it's not an explanation. So both are correct. Answer will become B. Next, from the 3rd century AD, when the Hun invasion ended the Roman Empire, Indian merchants relied more and more on. When the western trade went down, we went towards the east, right? So it was the lookist policy in ancient India, Southeast Asian trade. Answer will become C. Next, which of the following ports handled the North India trade during the Gupta period? So the most famous port of North India, it was Tamralipti. Answer will be A. Next, we have to now again go for this combination. Gupta period, which is famous? Devgarh, Chandela, we have Khajuraho, Chalukya, we have Badami, and Pallava, we have Panamalai. So on the basis of this, you can easily find the answer will become A. Silver coins by the Guptas were known as what? Dinar was the gold coin, right? Prashapana was the word used for the coins during the Maurya period. So answer is A, Rupaka. Next, Vikram era. Okay, Vikram, Saka, Gupta, and Kali era. So Kali era is 3102, right? 3102 BC, the earliest one. Vikram era. So Vikram era is the 58 BC. Saka era is 78 AD. Gupta era is 320. So 248 cannot be linked with any of them. On the basis of this information, you can easily come out with the answer B, D. Sanskrit plays written during the Gupta period. Women and Shudra speak which language? Okay, very tricky kind of a question. So in this case, the answer is going to be Prakrit. Answer is B. Next, few questions from post Gupta. These are last of the questions. Okay, so we are very close to the end of the PYQ for ancient India. So please, please, please revise them and use the ideas which I am giving to you. Now this is one area where what my advice is, please know the contemporaries. If you know the contemporaries of the all the dynasties, naturally such kind of question can be easily done. So after decline of the Guptas until the rise of Harshvardhana, which of the following kingdoms were holding power in North India? So Guptas of Magadha, yes. The Pramars of Malwa, okay. So we have to remember that Pramars, they came a little bit later on. Pushya Bhuti of Thane, sir, yes. Mokris of Kannauj, yes, that is also correct. So 1, 3 and 4 make sense. Yadavas of Devagiri, no, they came later on. Metrikas of Vallabhi, yes. The answer will become 1, 3, 4 and 6. Answer is B. Okay, next Iripati. Now this is from the region of the Cholas, South India. Iripati, land revenue which was set apart for the maintenance of village tank. Correct, because the word eri word is linked to tank. Taniyur, village donated to single Brahman. No, Taniyur in fact were the villages which were given more autonomy. So the answer is going to become the second is incorrect. Third, Gatikas, colleges attempts to temples. 100% correct. First and third are correct. Second is incorrect. So please remember these keywords. Now, some of the important statement which is given by Hun Sen, right? Hun Sen, he traveled across multiple part of the world, and he gave us some information about the things which are happening in India. The roads and river routes were completely immune from robbery. No, it was not so. In fact, he was looted and plundered twice. In fact, in one of them, he even tells us a story that the robbers, what they did, they made him upside down, and below him there was fire was going on, but still he was concentrated on the Maitre Buddha, the Buddha of the future, who would come and save him. Luckily, he escaped. The first statement is incorrect. As regards punishment for offences, ordeals by fire, water, and prison were the instrument of determining innocence of guilt. Yes, tradesmen had to pay duties at ferries and barrier station. Correct. The statement number 2 and 3 makes sense. India maintained its early cultural contacts and trade links with Southeast Asia across the Bay of Bengal. What was the reason for that, right? And for this preeminence, which of the following could be the most convincing solution? As compared to the other countries, India has better shipbuilding? No. Rulers of southern India always patronized traders, Brahman priests, and this? No. Monsoon wind across the Bay of Bengal facilitated COAS. Third statement is absolutely correct. Next, Emperor Harsha's southward march was stopped by whom? I think easiest question, right? So, who was the person? Pulkesin. Second answer would be B. Ashwadna convened the Prayag assembly. Correct. He wanted to popularize not only the Mahayana form of Buddhism, so he wanted to popularize everything. Answer will become B in this case. The Badami rock inscription of Pulkesin first is dated in the Saka era, that is 465. If the same was to be written in the Vikram Samvat, the year would be. Now these are the kind of questions which are more like CSET questions. So you should know the both era, Saka era and the Vikram era, and then you have to do the plus and minus. In this case, if you see, it is dated in the Saka year as 465, and Saka year comes a little bit later. So if you want to add this to the Vikram era, so first bring the Saka era to the Christian era. The Christian era starts from 0. So first add 78, right? And then further 58. So overall, what you would do, you would add around 136 years to 465, and the answer is going to become 601. The answer would become A. These kind of question can come. They are the questions on calendar system, okay, from culture. So I'm giving you a idea, okay, so how you can get the answer out. So these were the questions which we were required to discuss from ancient India, and to make it easy for all of us, I have covered all the questions which were available, not just the questions of last 14-15 years. You can remember many new facts, okay, from this what we have discussed today. I've given you the priorities also which you can have for the ancient India. So please go through them, revise them, utilize them, and all the very best with respect to ancient India. I hope you will get many more. Okay, thank you so much.